some fun learning activities. So that project interests me. So that will help me to improve my development skills also. And that was I was also interested in that project also. So after that, I have chosen that project. Okay, then that time I was not having even say the any guidance that how to start. So I just mailed their mailing list a simple mail that hey, I want to contribute to this project by exploring a bit about the project. And after that, the mentors of any open source projects are really helpful. They will guide you slowly on how to set up the development environment and how to pick up the beginner level issues. And once you have taken your first step, then for sure you can continue your journey towards the GSOC.
That's an amazing way to understand. So Deepak, what I feel is personally where most of us struggle is taking the first step. So
Yeah.
how did you take the jump? I mean, that requires a leap of faith. So what was your
Yeah,
motivation?
yeah, so actually it was like that I was having one thing in mind that I need to crack GSOC this year. So either anything was I'll just prepare and give my best and I will crack GSOC this year. So just I gave my best. I took up the step without fearing. Even I asked sometimes very dumb question to the mentors. Okay. But my mentors were really cool of KD and other open source projects mentors are also very cool because they are very helpful and looking for the contributors to contribute to the project. And then I was contributing to the project, then I feel that I can make more good contribution and then I can be a part of the GSOC. So the first step I will be to just don't, I mean, look over the lots of stuff, the how to select GSOC organization, how to do. You know that there is a simple step into getting into GSOC that you need to select any open source project. Okay. So selecting any open source project can be on based on two way. Either you have the development skills of the project or you are interested to contribute to the project by looking on what they are working on. Okay, so just take the first step, select the project and reach out the mentors. Once you have reached out the mentors, you will for sure set up the development environment and try to go over the beginner level is. Don't give up because the code base are really big. So I can also understand the code base of any open source project are real life projects, so that's really big. So it will take you in the beginning. So if you have patience on you that in the beginning I won't give up, then in the further also you can make your part to this for sure.
Understood. So, how exactly did your journey after GSOC start? So, we will touch upon the proposal making part later. So, how
Mhm.
did your journey start in during your coding period?
Okay, so during the coding period, just I first of all set up the development environment, okay, and then I interacted with the mentors. Then I took up some of the beginner level issues as fixing the layout or changing some color. So I get to know the whole development workflow of the project, how they are working. Because on when you contribute to any KD project, so they have a fabricator where they maintain all of their tasks and everything else, and you need to and you need to send the pull request to the GitLab. So when you make few contributions of the beginner level, okay, then you go through and then you are well familiar with the development environment, how they are working on. And once you have took up 2 to 3 issues, okay, then I think you will feel yourself comfortable that how you can pick up the next week. Because it's not like just you need to work on the beginner level issues, you also need to work on some medium level issues and some I mean the advanced level issues. And one thing is most important, that you need to be active in the community and interact with the mentors. Because if you are working alone and if you're stuck, because mentors won't give you the exact solution, but they can guide you for sure that how you should take this step and how you should approach on the solution. So you need to
Understood.
open for that.
So, in GSOC, what exactly how should one follow the learning approach for learning the tech stacks? Should it be I should first go to an organization, see if I like the idea, or should it be like, okay, I know web development, I know app development, but I want to just go into these orgs who do web and app, irrespective of their idea of their project. So how should it be?
So okay, so you can do one thing about learning of the tech stack. that you can select any project. If you are, for example, you have the basic knowledge of web development, okay, such as you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you can select a project based on the web development, and just I told you repeatedly that set up the development environment and pick up the beginner level issues. Once you are doing that, then you can also look over the how the code base is written. So what are the front end frameworks they are using? Either they are using React, Angular, Vue, or anything else. What are the backend framework they are using? And during the contribution period also start learning and parallelly make the contribution. So this is the learning period, how it goes on, because you can't learn each and every tech stack used in the project before contributing.
Understood. Agreed. I strongly agree with this because it would take a colossal amount of time to go through everything. You can't be
Yeah,
a master for that. So,
yeah.
coming to your journey, so how did you make the proposal? Like, what are the things one should keep in mind before making the proposal?
Okay, so the first thing, because there's a different, you can say that different organization have their different perspective of selecting the students. Okay, so being a kid, being a GSOC student at KD, what I feel that they look for the students who are open and creative. They can suggest new ideas themselves. They can suggest new features to the project themselves. Okay, and they can create a realistic timeline of the whole project, how they will deal with each and every features if they break down the features into sub features. Okay, so while preparing the proposal, you should keep in mind that you should go through the project idea, stick to the what is the project idea. Okay, and after
Yes.
that, once you have done what is the project idea, then you should create a rough proposal first of all for practice to see how it goes. Then you also need to mention the timeline. How will you work on that? How will you implement the things, and how that things will be interacted? So this, you just keep in mind the proposal should give a good idea to the mentors that you are completely able to complete this project during the GSOC period. So that will be the element of the proposal, because if you are working on any, you can say that the full stack development project, then you can also create some diagram and show the how this backend things will work, how this will work from here place. And this is the thing, because you need to make a creative proposal. You are open how much creative you can be, but there are some of the elements you need to mention, that what's the project, how will you implement the things, and a realistic timeline. And if you have any other commitments, that also, and a brief intro, then these are the things you need to mention for sure.
Understood. So, apart from this, there are like a lot of open source programs. So, can you like share a couple of those?
So if you will say like GSOC, there are also open source programs such as Google Summer of Docs, that the if anyone don't have experience in development but they are good in technical writing, then they can take part in that. And Script Winter Code is also one of the, you can say, the similar program to GSOC. And the other programs are MLS Fellowship and Kharagpur Winter of Code, Dev Script Winter, because there are numerous programs that are helping students to get into open source projects and take this first step, so they can further work on the GSOC proposal also and contribute to any of the GSOC selected organization.
Definitely understood. So, the question arises: how, what motivated you to contribute? I mean, of course, we all of us know that GSOC has a very competitive stipend and a tag, but what motivated you to actually, work towards your goal? What was your mindset during that time? Because I believe that that's something that all of us struggle with.
Okay, so I was having one of my friend who tried GSOC with Julia 1 year. Okay, so I used to interact with him each and everything. So if you work on any projects or if you apply to any internship or anything, so he told me that there's a program GSOC. You should give a try. Then I just checked out about the program, how it's and what are the benefits if I complete the project and all. So I saw the main motive was that when you work on the real life projects and in fully you can say that the remote environment, you learn a lot of things. The first thing is that the networking. Okay, and the second thing that I love about open source project, that you interact with the people all around the world, because all around the people are the contributors there to any of the open source projects. So these are the few things I like. The main one was that I thought that the it would really help me to improve my development experience. Okay, so developer, so I thought to give it a try to GSOC also. So that was my motivation. So I thought of giving a try to GSOC.
That's an amazing way. I mean, I completely agree. I think so. All of us here would definitely agree that Script Winter of Code is also a great portal for networking. I mean, we have people from GSOC coming in. We have MLH fellows. We have CEOs of startups. So I believe Script Winter of Code is an amazing opportunity to learn and network as well. So apart from this, Deepak, what would you suggest to a newcomer? What should be his mindset while approaching an org, while trying to learn?
See, I would say that if you are complete beginner, you can say that, for example, if you are complete beginner, then I will say that the first thing you should just learn the basics of programming. Okay. So you should know the basic of programming, what is meant by web development, what is meant by app development, because when you are selecting any project also, then you should also get an idea that what they are working on. And once you are okay with that, okay, then you don't give just go with the GSOC, because GSOC starts in January. Before that, there are many other open source program also. Script interactive code is also one. Then start with any beginner level friendly open source program where you will get to learn a lot of things. Okay, and once you have done that, then you feel confident that I should give a try to GSOC. Then you should go for sure to GSOC and selecting organization, and then making a contribution and interacting with mentors and all. So I think this will be the part of a complete beginner.
Understood. So I think the audience might be having a couple of questions. So should we look at them? We have two questions. Is it really necessary to switch to Linux for deployment, for development?
See, actually, if you ask with many of the developers, I also have my friends, and even I am sure that Rachit is also one of the developer. The preference is that the Linux is good for development purpose, because there is something in Windows that you take a lot of. For example, I will give you a simple example. The software which I work with, the
Yes.
compile the gcomplex project, is qt creator. Okay, so
Mhm.
that software is around 40 GB in the Windows, and it's around only 1 GB in the Linux Ubuntu development environment. So you can just understand from here only. So many developers prefer going with the development with the Linux environment only.
Understood. So
Yeah.
it isn't really about your development.
Yeah,
It's about how
no,
your
it's
mindset mainly.
it's a personal choice and your mindset. If you love working with the Linux, then just use Linux, or if you are familiar and good with, you think that Windows is good, then just go with Windows or Mac. Anything else, not a problem.
So we have a question from Harsh. So he's telling, I know the languages, but now I'm struggling to start contributing as every project is on a different technology, and thus tutorial hell begins for me. Any tips?
Okay, so if you know the any languages, for example, I take an example that you know HTML, CSS. Okay, so basics of web development. So that's not a language, I will say, but you can say that the you know the basics of web development. That is a general programming stuff. Then you can pick up any web development related organization and just pick up the beginner level issues. Okay,
Yes.
so once you have picked up the beginner level issues, then you will once just try to make contribution, because you at that moment also you need to read a lot of code, than writing the code, because you need to understand that how to implement this solution of the issue you have picked up. Okay, and at that moment you will learn that what other tech stack needs to be learned to contribute to this project, and I can make a better contribution. So I think that should be your mindset.
We have a question from Siddhant. If we start now for web or app development, can we get selected for GSOC?
See, I will say that if you are a hard worker, then for sure, because generally mentors look at the people only the one thing that matters, that you should make good contribution to the project. Okay, that should give a mentor a view that if you get selected, then you will be able to complete the project for sure. Then right now the GSO organization haven't been announced. Okay, and it's the end of December. So I think this year the schedule has also been changed a bit. In the March, the organization is going to be announced. So in the next 1 month you can learn the, because learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript won't take more than 1 week. Okay,
Yes.
web development more won't take more than 1 week. Once you have learned the basics of web development, Then just select any organization and start contributing. And after that, you have the whole next 2 months of break to contribute. Then you can also try for preparing the proposal according to the project ideas.
So we have a question by Mohit. Can we add SWOC in our proposal, in our GSOC proposal, to make more
Yeah,
impact
yeah,
on the
sure.
same
You
effort?
can just, when you are mentioning about your introduction, okay, there's a section where you need to mention about the introduction. Then you can add, because, for example, I will say that what also makes a. I have also seen many proposals, the other student also, that if, for example, you are preparing proposal on any project based on React, okay, and you can say the month stack, okay. Then
Yeah,
if you have mentioned that you have completed a good project on month stack, then for definitely that will give a weightage to your proposal. So for sure you
definitely.
can mention it.
So we have a question from Rishabh. He is having this question: how to find good issues of my level, because going through issues takes a lot of time.
See, the first thing, there can be a case that many organizations have their label on the issues page at easy or beginner, or I mean, you can say that UI UX or bug. Okay. So from there you can filter out the issues on the base of beginner level. And if that's not the case, then you just can start interacting with the mentors on their respective communication channel, maybe on IRC or Gitter or Slack, that hey, I am a beginner contributor. Can you please guide me through the beginner level issues? So then for sure they will guide you to the beginner level issues. But
Definitely.
just don't even expect that if you are not putting efforts, then mentors will help you, because it's a two-way process. You need to put up equal efforts than more than the mentors if you are definitely paving a way for the GSOC and wants to get selected for it.
Also, so Deepak, can you tell a bit about the outreach program and the MHL fellowship, if possible? Because a lot of our attendees have this question. So, if possible, can you lend some light on this?
Okay, so outreachy program is bit similar to GSOC only. Okay, but the thing is that outreachy program are for, you can say that, backward. I mean the peoples of other region mostly, and especially for girls. So
Yes,
that's program structure is similar to GSOC only. For if there's any girl candidate, then for sure they can try for outreachy. Okay, and regarding the MLS fellowship process, there is two thing in the MLS fellowship. There it can be a, you can, I don't remember the exact name. The one is that you need to explore. If you are a beginner, then there's a one MLS explore program, and if you are a intermediate level or a good contributor, then there's a different program. I don't remember exactly the name. So in the MLS fellowship, you submit the application. When the applications are open, then you, in the application, you also need to submit the code. They ask you for the code. Then you have a few rounds of interview. Okay, because it's the selection process is completely different from GSOC and outreach in case of MLS. And once you get selected, then the process is same, that you will be grouped into few pods. The pods is that the group of few developers. Okay, and then you work on initial few projects and take part in hackathon, and after that you are assigned a open source project in which you need to contribute. So this is the structure of MLS fellowship.
so we have a question from Apurva. The last date for applying to the MLH fellowship is 4 January. Is it too late to send the application now?
No, no, actually MLS fellowship receives a lots of applications, so it's not late to send the application, because that it happens in MLS fellowship. If your application for any reason doesn't get reviewed this time, then you will get a mail, and I have heard with some of the friends, then you get a some code also, and if when you apply for the next time, then you will be given preference while reviewing your application. So I don't think it's late. If you are thinking to apply, then for sure go for it.
All right. So, does anyone have any other questions? So, we are open to questions. How to understand the code base?
Okay, so understanding a code base, it will take patience for sure, because it's not like any one project that you have independently work on it. You know everything, how the project is structured, in which file the assets are there, in which file, I mean the whole project how is structured, and how is the, if for example you take any React based project, and you don't know
Yes.
how the things are structured, whether they are using Redux, Reducer, or anything else. And so everything is different, okay, because there are lots of contributors, they write code according to themselves. The mentors review the code. If there is the code is according to the the defined standard of the organization, then they accept your pull request. So understanding a code base only by working on the issues, okay. But see,
Yes.
once you have picked up any issues, for example, there's a issues to fix up the footer, then I am sure that you don't need to go through the whole code base, and just you will try to find out in which file the footer code is written, okay. Then once you will fix that, then if you pick up any other issues, then you see that you need to check 2 to 3 files. And we are also learn the reading the code, and that one understanding the code base, okay. So I will say that at a once you can't go completely through the whole code base and understand the whole project, but if you keep contributing, then slowly and steadily you will understand the code base also, that how things are working, and you can implement the things also. So if you are completely having no clue about how to go with the solution, then you can, for sure there might be some functions or anything in variable used, you can just start tweaking the variables or tweaking the values of the variable and see how it affects the application. So at that point also you get a slight view that okay, this function is doing this function behaves like this. So this is the way you can understand the code base.
All right. All right. So we have a question from Ankit. So which technologies did you work on during your GSOC?
Okay, so basically during my GSOC project, I have worked with the JavaScript and QML. Okay, so that was the tech stack used in the gcompress project, and I also worked with a bit of C++ because the core of the gcompress is written in C++.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So do you have any other questions? Um, I am a bit confused in the section where he asked why MHL fellowship. Explain a bit about how to approach in this part.
Yeah, sorry, actually, I didn't get that. Can you please
Yes,
repeat?
yes. So we have Mohit. Mohit wants to understand what should he put in when put in the why do you want to be MLH fellow section. How should he
Okay,
answer that?
so that you need to answer, because, for example, if someone will ask me that why I need to get into GSOC, so that is the answer I need to frame, that what you feel that why you want to get into MLH. The first thing I will say that the thing is that if for sure you will networking will be for sure. Then the second thing will be that you will improve your development experience a lot, because you will be working on a open source project there also. So these are the things, few things you need to frame your answers accordingly. So why you need to get into the MLS fellowship, what's your motivation? So they are trying to get that, what's the motivation, are you really motivated to be an MLS fellow? So that's the thing they are trying to get through that question.
That's cool. All right. So and it should be as I think, guys, that it's your question, right? So it should be a bit how you want to answer it. As
Yeah,
Deepak
yeah, exactly.
contributed to KDE because he loved the project ideas they had. So in open source, what I feel is there is not one uniform way of contributing. For what works for me won't work for Deepak. What works for Deepak won't work for me. The ideology of the community is is same, but it's different for each and every project.
Yeah, exactly, I agree with you.
So we have a question: does data structures and algorithms, does knowledge of data structures and algorithms count for GSOC?
No, actually, I don't think, because when I have contributed to the project, I don't think that I've used any advanced data structure. The basic knowledge of arrays, strings, and some arithmetic operations, and these things are enough to go with any open source project. I don't think that the if you have a basic knowledge of the data structures and algorithm, okay, so basic such as the arrays, strings, and some other data structures, then you can contribute to any organization.
Yeah.
Because the GSOC is not that you GSOC, I mean contributing to any project is not that you need to first learn all the stuffs and then go for the contribution. Just start contributing, and what the things are required, learn parallelly, okay, because the wave is a, I mean, you can say the ocean of knowledge, okay. So you can just Google out the things, learn the documentation, read the documentation, understand the thing how I can implement. If you don't know a particular algorithm or don't know a particular thing, then you need to understand at that point only while you are contributing. If you are open to learn the new things and open to give your effort, then for sure you can get selected for GSOC.
So I had one question from my end I wanted to ask. So we have touched about how should you approach it, how should you get started. But I think so one thing all of us ignore a lot is how clean should your code be? How should you document your code? Because as you're pushing your code to a level, well, a lot of people are going to be reading it. So how should that be?
So actually, the first thing is that the documentation part of the code and everything, the code standards are defined by the any of the organization specifically. Okay, so you need once you are contributing that while the mentors review your pull request, at that moment if you haven't added any documentation according to the coding standards, then they will just add some review, and that moment you will understand how you need to document the code either. For example, if for any function you need to write the documentation, if the variables will be separated or the assets will be kept in this, I mean this structure. So these are the things you need to be, and the code should be refactored, because if you are using the same code and multiple things, that there can be a for sure a way to implement the function and then call the function with the different arguments. So these are the things they follow, and that's the coding standard defined by the organization, and that what I also followed during my GSOC grade and while completing the project.
Because I believe it's very important that we write clean code because it definitely has to be reused somewhere. So that's something I had a lot of question is. So
Yeah.
we have a small question. So how hard is to get into GSOC?
Hello.
Yes, yes, Deepak, you're audible. So
Yeah.
we have a question from. Okay, so how hard is it to get into GSOC? So
So actually, you won't take a GSOC is that hard. I won't say that that's very hard. I always said that the only thing matters is your contribution to the project. If you are a if you have contributed good to the project, if you have made meaningful contribution, if you have worked on the beginner level issues, if you are active in the community also and interacting with the mentors, helping other, because the main goal of the open source is that to work on the project and be a part of the such a community that, I mean, the you can say that this will be part of such a community that always be active, because it's not like once you have contributed today and after 15 days you are again making contribution. If you are active in a community and if you know something that other fellow contributors are, I mean, helping issues. For example, they are facing some issue in development setup. So if you are interacting with them and also helping them, you are interacting actively with the mentors. Then I don't think that that's the thing that matters in the GSO. It's not like any exam. Okay, it's just like you need to make contribution to the project, and you need to make the sure the mentor that if you get selected for this GSO, then you can complete this project fully and professionally for sure. So it's not like you would say that it's very hard to get into GSO. I don't think so.
understood. All right. So, I would like to conclude by saying, like, guys, open source is more about community and collaboration rather than
Yeah.
getting into MHL fellowship, getting into outreach, getting into GSOC, getting into any other open source program that's been happening. It's more about the people, the projects, and the learning. It doesn't really mean like something happens because you want to just go into it. If you really like open source, it would come to you naturally. That's what has been my experience with my open source journey.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
Sure, folks. So, if you have any other queries about SWOC or anything at all, so you can ping me on Slack, or if you have any queries about GSOC, just put it in query. Someone from the team will definitely try to reach out to you, so try to solve your queries. All right. So thanks a ton, Deepak, for joining in today and helping us resolve our doubts. Also, folks, if you guys don't know, Deepak is also the founder of Codeway, where he offers mentorship to students who are aiming for such prestigious programs. So you might want to check his site up as well.
Yeah, exactly. The thanks a lot, Rachit, for the opportunity. For sure, I will say to all the participants that take your first step with the script printer of code, because the projects I have checked out are very good. There are one project on which I am also working as a contributor. You can say that we are with the Akshay, we are the founding team because we took the first step of the project. That's the canvas board. So Rachit is also part of it. Okay, so that project also based on Angular and the backend is based on the Node.js. And there are other also good projects which have been selected for GsoC also, such as Circuit Bus also is there for SwoC. So if you are contributing to any SwoC project, then for sure they can help you get into GsoC also. And if you're complete beginner, then we also run, as Rachit told, 90 days program at Codeway. Okay, so for the 45 days, you will go thrive into a complete development experience of your choice by assigning a personal mentor to you and for the next 45 days, we'll ask for your choice for which program you are interested, either GSOC, MLS, or Outreach, and we will just guide you accordingly with that also. Because there will be one mentor who will work with you for 90 days completely. You will have meetings with your mentors, you will tell that you are facing difficulties here and everything else, and they are always ready to help you. So this is all right now. We are helping the students to improve the development experience.
Thanks a lot, Deepak. Thanks a ton. Sure,
Yeah.
folks. So if you have any other, okay, someone has put up a question of Codeway website. Sure, I'll put it up. So this is Deepak's website. You guys can look it up and ask any questions about this either to Deepak on LinkedIn, or you can reach out to me, or on Slack, or the SWOC queries channel.
Yeah, sure. You can, if possible, you can also share my LinkedIn, Rajit,
Yes,
because I
sure,
am on
sure.
phone. Because I am on right now phone. If anyone wants to get connected, then they can get connected.
So, folks, I'm attaching Deepak's LinkedIn. Do feel free to stalk him and send him a request if you have any questions. Also, I'm attaching Canvas boards page. So, if it is a project selected for SWOC as well. So, if you have any questions, or if you want to contribute this to this project as well, you can go to issues page and check us out. All right. Sure, folks. So do let us know if you have any questions. Goodbye. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thank